Okay. Okay, I pushed the go button. Well, thanks for joining us. Although I'm sure there's nobody online, but here we are in continuing on in our invest. Okay. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Um, okay. So here we are in our continuous learning about how to stream live on YouTube. And where we left off was right at the beginning of the Pacific Crest Trail's High Sierra section. So this is right at mile 700, 705, somewhere in there. And this is the registry about 8 miles from the bridge over the South Fork of the Kern. You actually cross two bridges over the South Fork of the Kern River. And this is the first bridge about 8 miles up. So my two boys pictured here, they did the PCT in 2020, and they're on their way to go do the CDT this year, and they did the AT in 22. And so I was really happy to have them join me for this section. This is a notoriously good section, kind of what some would say is the absolute highlight of the trip. I would certainly say it's the most technically difficult part of the trip. We had done this whole section with significant snow in 2020, and that'd be Naomi and I and our two boys. They were 15 and 17. They had, hundreds of nights out under the stars and stuff. So super good experience on their side. So anyway, it's really nice to have them join me for this section. And I was really hoping to have 20 to 30% less snow in 2024. We entered the High Sierras May 28th, and we had 20 or 30% more snow. So it definitely made it quite a bit harder of a trip. We had higher water than we were expecting. We knew that the bridge over the South Fork of the San Joaquin, as you come out of Evolution Valley, crossing, the Evolution Creek crosses the South Fork of the San Joaquin right out of Evolution Valley there. And we knew that was going to be a thing. We're all, very serious, like whitewater people. We're a total whitewater family. So we had a throw bag with us. We were confident we would be able to cross the river without a bridge. So we had, hopes of high adventure. Our intention was to walk from Kennedy Meadows south to Mammoth. So we had 12 days of food with us, and we were not planning on going through, taking the side trip up Whitney, because we had done that in 2020. And, the side trip is worth it. If you have never climbed Whitney before, it's worth doing. But I didn't really feel like it was worth, doing it again. And it actually gets delicate when you start carrying more than 9 or 10 days of food. If you're going to do Whitney, you need to pack at least an extra day of food. 12 days of food was kind of pushing it. But anyway, we pulled it off. As you'll see, we didn't actually go all the way to Mammoth. We actually came out of the High Sierras at Bishop Pass, because we had some communication with my wife, their mother, Naomi, that there was an epic storm coming in. And we were not interested in the three of us spending, well, we actually had four people. We weren't interested in the four of us, you know, huddling in a triplex for 4 days. We clearly brought I had a tent, but they didn't bring a tent. It was just for, if a storm came in or something like that. We actually never set the tent up. I didn't set the tent up in the High Sierras at all, as it turns out, but we'll just kind of truck along here. So this is, just some of the very first tastes of the High Sierra section, these giant meadows that, a reasonably sized creek is flowing through. So that's their buddy Toshi on the right-hand side. He'd never been backpacking before. He didn't understand how to keep his body cool and keep the sun off of him simultaneously. He didn't really know how to pack. And a lot of the things that we were saying to do while he was packing, just really didn't make sense to him. Like, he thought he was going to be bored sitting around camp and stuff. And so he had like 3 books with him. We warned him to not take it, but we all have a learning curve when it comes to backpacking. So no judgment on his side. It's just that when you have a heavier pack, you put in a lot more effort. That's just how it is, and so it makes your days much harder if your pack is heavy. His pack was heavy, so this is us just making our way up some of these initial valleys as you cross up into the higher lands. That's my son Kai. And this is us and getting ready to camp at night 1 in the High Sierras. That's the South Fork of the Kern River. That's Teo. He had kind of walked ahead. He moves fast. For anybody that knows, like, averaging 3 miles an hour is really good. And he certainly walks 3 to 3.5 miles an hour, and he finds that pace is what works the best for his body. So that's his thing, and he's really great at finding fantastic campsites. So this is a picture of him right where we camped. This is still the South Kern. This is the bridge that the PCT crosses on the South Kern. There's thousands of, I believe they're swallows that are whipping around all through here. So this is the 3 of us the following morning. This is us up on top of the bridge, and all those darty things in the picture, those are all these swallows that cruise around. And I took a Tenkara fly rod. If you're familiar with if you're into fishing, the fishing in the High Sierras is world class, and the fly fishing up there, fly fishing is a little bit more my style of things. And if you plan on fishing in the High Sierras, which I totally suggest, take a look at Tenkara. It's a style of fly fishing that does not include a reel. So it is incredibly light. My entire setup is under 5 ounces, and it's basically like a 10-foot carbon telescoping rod that you attach through a very simple knot, some specialized fly line leader, and I only took like 4 flies with me up into the High Sierras, and you can fish all of these streams. And I thought I was gonna just catch fish here in the South Kern. I fished for like 45 minutes the night before. I didn't see a single fish rise. I didn't get a bite. I was really surprised. So anyway, those fly rods are, it's not a brand. Tenkara is not a brand. It's a style of fishing. So if you take a look at, if you do a lit search, if you do a search online for tenkara, then you could find those rods. They're very inexpensive. This is snow crocus. It's one of these really neat plants that that you see pretty regularly. You know, not super common, but they're beautiful. And this is just us continuing on up as we're moving up towards Cottonwood Pass. And there's Toshi getting water. The three boys, really great for them to be introducing one of their buddies to backpacking. And Toshi had a really good time. Yeah, just the scenery up here is just, you know, really, it's really wonderful. I think that these are cedar trees. I think these are cedars that are up there that look like this, but you know, I'm sorry to my botany teacher that taught me all of this stuff. I can't remember all of these trees. I used to know them all, but hey, if you don't use it, you lose it. This is us. We're pretty high in elevation here. Yeah. This is looking to the east off of the Pacific Crest. We're probably getting up to that chicken, what is it? It's like Chicken Foot Lake or something like that. Oh, okay. So this was a little bit of a goodbye. So it was in this valley here, up high. Toshi was starting to struggle a bit, and so Kai kind of led the conversation of, hey, if you're going to bail out of this, because this is going to start getting much harder. This was like day 4. We had done like maybe 70 miles or 60 miles, whatever it is. And we were up near Cottonwood Pass, and there's a trail that we could take down to the trailhead at Cottonwood Pass, and Toshi would be able to get off trail. He was a little surprised at how much effort it took and how little air there was up there, and just the lifestyle of living out in the woods was just something that he's not familiar with. He kept a really positive attitude, but it was, you know, it's challenging, and so Kai kind of led a good conversation about, well, hey, look, you know, you've had a completely successful introductory to backpacking. I mean, that's a serious, great thing that he did. And Kai helped make sure that he felt comfortable with that. But then ultimately, Toshi got to walk for about 8 miles and make a decision of whether he wanted to drop down to Cottonwood Pass. And we've all learned that you don't split up a trip. You generally don't want to split up and just be like, okay, well, see you later, and have him walk the 6 or 10 miles down to the parking lot by himself. And so we all went down there. He decided to leave the trip, and then he was going to hitch from the campground down there. He was going to hitch to Mammoth to get his car, and then he was going to go ahead and go on home. And so that's what ended up happening. And so this is us up at the top of Cottonwood Pass. The next day, we had finished getting back up onto Cottonwood Pass, so the three of us could go and take on the high Sierras. And I'm really grateful that Toshi chose to leave. It really seemed like the skill set required and the strength required was a little bit past him, and it's good to be conservative, and it's good to make good decisions out in the wilderness. There's no need to cause problems and be nervous all day and stuff like that. So it's good to be smart out there. And I think for a lot of people, I think that skipping the high Sierras is a super legit way to do it. You can, you know, you can use the desert section to get fit. Kind of everybody does. You don't have to do Mount San Jacinto. You don't have to do Baden Powell. There's no have to anythings, when it starts turning into these, you have to do this to be this, or to do this to fit this definition, that's really just your ego talking sometimes, not exclusively, but that's kind of where that stuff is coming to. Now, if you have your own personal goals about things, that's legit, and that's cool. That's super cool too. So all of these nuanced conversations, they're beyond the scope of this video. I'm just talking about our thing. But anyway, I'm proud of him for, it takes a certain strength of character to say, yeah, I should probably play it safe. It's wonderful. So anyway, here's Teo up on top of Cottonwood Pass. Cottonwood Pass is at like 11,000 feet, something right around there. And so here we are, just, you're just soaking in beauty all day, every day. You cannot open, it's like you just can't open your eyes and see anything other than spectacular beauty. These blown out trees, I think some of these are bishop pines. I think those are cedars though. Yeah, so that looks like Teo and I. I really wish I was able to capture the texture of this tree. Some of this stuff is just, I love it that pictures don't do justice. It makes a difference to actually go do the thing, right? Like I definitely appreciate that. But I wish I could share that with you. I wish I could share things better also. So this is us working our way from Cottonwood Pass towards Crabtree Meadow. And it was incredible, the number of golden trout trying to jump up this waterfall. This waterfall is like 10 feet tall. And, these little tiny fish, they're 6 to 8 inches, and they're trying to jump up this thing. It's incredible how many fish are in these little tiny creeks. Yeah, we caught quite a few trout out of this little creek. This is the next morning, getting across this little creek. It's cold water. We're this style where we basically would take our socks and shoes off and walk across. A lot of people bring water shoes. That's a really good way of doing it. We spend a lot of time without shoes on, and so our feet can pretty much handle it. And who wants to have wet socks and shoes all day? Certainly when part of the Sierras, you're in a place where you cross 3 or more creeks in a day, and when that happens, I just walk right through the water. I don't bother taking my socks and shoes off just because it takes so much time. But if it's just going to be one creek, I'll take my socks and shoes off. That's Whitney. we're descending down into Crabtree Meadows here. Crabtree Meadows is the kind of launching point for the people that are going to do the side quest up Whitney. These are some switchbacks. This is Teo on some, walking down some switchbacks, and more Whitney, and yeah. So this is that Crabtree Meadow. I think this is the lower meadow. You have to go off trail, off the John Muir Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail, to go to the upper meadow. We took a couple hours here in this meadow and fished, and one of us is fishing in this photo somewhere. It's a really neat meandering creek, you know, and there are hundreds of trout in this little creek. There are all those little golden trout. Really beautiful, crystal clear, 2 feet of water, swift moving flat water. Really beautiful. There's a little bit of an idea of what that's like. There's some little pockets that are 4 to 5 feet deep. Those are really infrequent. That's where the bigger fish are. So I think Teo caught 8 or 9 fish. Kai caught 2. Yeah. Pretty nice place to spend an afternoon. We ate some lunch. One of my better memories from the High Sierras with the boys. Okay, so that's me in the front, and I'm about to totally fall flat on my chest on that log. I thought I had it totally dialed, and I didn't. You know, the log, you know, the whole log was slippery and wet, and you know, was this my biggest fall on the trip? This was my worst fall on the trip as far as I can remember. I didn't hurt myself, thankfully. I could have really hurt myself. But I did lose my sunglasses, which, for those of you in the know, the High Sierras have a lot of snow, and hiking through snow when it's a bluebird day without sunglasses is unhealthy and not comfortable. And so anyway, I'm literally 1 step, 2 steps away from my right foot coming off the upper side of that log, and just total rookie move on my side, landed flat on my chest on that log, thankfully, and my glasses popped right off of my head and into the creek. So that's what happened there. And then promptly, Teo whipped right across it, no problem at all, followed by Kai, as I went and downstream and walked across the creek. I was already wet, so whatever, and got to lick my wounds from that. Yeah. That's a good photo of us. Yeah, this is Kai. He's pulled out some of that bacon that's vacuum packed. Cooked bacon that's vacuum packed is a pretty solid snack. So he's stoked about his bacon. So we're just working our way north of where everybody takes off to go do Whitney. and we're just kind of continuing on. Marmots. There's so many marmots out here, and they're just, you know, they're they're really sweet animals, and they're not super concerned. I know that Teo in 2020 got to pet 2 or 3 of them. He's pretty good with animals, and so on this trip, I don't think that he took enough time anywhere to pet any. But yeah, this is a plateau somewhere, somewhere up in the high Sierras, and really sweet experience. I came across one of these young women that was up on top, and she was just sitting down. She had her pad out, and she was sitting down about, I took this photo. She's sitting 10 feet to my right. Well, my kids, for whatever reason, they were about 10 minutes behind me, so I got to connect with her, and I walk up on her, and she's sitting on this plateau, and she's just got tears coming down her face, and because it's just so beautiful. And so, she was there by herself, just basking in the moment. We come up and totally disturb her and stuff. I was pretty, graceful about it and stuff, and just really, acknowledge that I just really appreciate that somebody would take the time to be connected with themselves, and to not just rush through things, and to just, soak it in. So it was really beautiful, and fortunately she was there to take a photo of the kids and I, because this was the photo that I wanted to get for the trip. It's this photo here, and in 2020, I took this same photo of Kai and Teo and Naomi, and so I was really hoping to get that photo, and she sweetly did that for us. Yeah, and Kai was just in a mood. He was just being a total clown the whole time, and so it's great. Yeah, they're having a blast. I don't know what elevation this is, and I don't remember the name of this this plateau, but it's super spectacular. It's on the way to Forester Pass. So this is us working our way through the Sierras. So these photographs were taken with a Samsung S23 Ultra. I'm obviously not a photographer, so the camera makes up for my lack of skill quite a bit. Boy, we got to this creek in the afternoon, and it was Rager, and we came across Ranger and a couple of his buddies, and I told them that I knew of a route through the creek. It was a death-defying thing when we were there. We got there about an hour before dark, hour and a half before dark, and the creek was pumping. Those creeks are lower in the morning than they are in the afternoon. The creek was pumping, and it was not a place to cross. And so we knew that if you walked upstream a mile or mile or mile and a half, that the creek braids out. So this is the main crossing that you have to deal with between Whitney and or Crabtree Meadows and Forester Pass. That's my memory of it. I think there's two, but the other ones are super safe. This one's wickedly dangerous, but if you just go upstream a mile or so, it starts to braid out, and you can cross like three of them. And so here's Teo making sure that these people get across safely. Both the kids are raft guides and super good with whitewater and stuff, so they're really adept. And most people don't spend hundreds of hours, walking in rivers, where we've led many canyoneering trips. And so we've just done it a lot. Everybody's different. Some people are really good with buying and selling stocks. We all have different skills. And so this is the kids just making sure that these guys get across this river fine. And it was fine, no big deal, but freaking cold, man. The kids walked all the way to camp barefooted. That tripped me out. I wore my shoes. No, I put my shoes back. I took my socks and shoes off and crossed that, and then put my socks and shoes back on. And the kids just carried their shoes to camp. They walked like 400 yards through snow and frickin' rocks to get to where we camped. And I think Teo went and got water. Didn't bother putting shoes on. How they do that, I don't understand. I mean, my feet are pretty good at being barefooted. I'm pretty good at I'm pretty solid with it, but they're freaking next level. This is us the next morning setting out to go do Forester Pass. Forester Pass is the tallest point on the PCT proper. It's around 13,000 feet. That chute behind the boys there, that's the chute that you see all the photographs of. You cross right below that chalk rock right in the gully there. And it's certainly no place to fall, but you won't fall. You're not going to fall. You're not going to be the first person through, and so there's going to be a really good path when you get up there. You got your micro spikes and your ice axe. You know how to use this stuff. You're not going to fall, so don't let it freak you out. Do your best to not let it freak you out. The climb up to the chute is definitely more dangerous than crossing the chute. Like I said, there's a very serious footpath across it. This is us just kind of taking the more direct route, just kind of going up the snow fields. The switchbacks were covered in snow when we got there, so a lot of times it's easiest to just go straight up the mountain. Everybody has different skill sets. All three of us are. The boys they're good they're real rock climbers. They're good rock climbers. I can rock climb, but I'm not good at it. I'm not good at rock climbing, but I can do it. And it's incredible what those micro spikes allow you to walk on. And it's the Cotulla Mountains. It's the Cotulla spikes. Don't buy aluminum. Well, you do what you want to do. I would recommend not buying aluminum micro spikes, because the spikes will bend. The Cotullas are $80 to $100. You want them to fit tight on your shoes. You're gonna take them off. You're gonna put them on and take them off. My opinion is that you do not need to take them off when you're walking on gravel and rocks. They can handle walking on rocks. I've put hundreds of miles on my micro spikes. I bought them in 2019 for our 2020 trip, and they're really strong. They're very well made, and saving 20 or 30 or $40 for an inferior product is, in my opinion, it's a real mistake. It's like buying a low quality helmet if you ride motorcycles or you're a whitewater kayaker. Like, it's your head. Like, these are the things that are going to keep you from falling down a mountain, right? And we watched multiple people take really big falls, both in 2020 and in this year in 2024. We watched some people take some big falls, take micro spikes into the high Sierras. Yeah. Anyway, I rant about safety, but maybe it's just because I'm a dad, or maybe it's because I've seen so much stuff in the wilderness. Whatever. Yeah, we're kind of getting up there. Must be Teo crossing. This is that, the crossing area at the top. This is a picture of the chute going down. So certainly not something you want to fall down. You wouldn't stop, But look at those, see those boot track. They call it a boot track. That boot track is, every single step is laid out for you, and your foot is encased in hard pack. So, it makes a big difference. If you don't look down the chute, you don't get the vertigo-y thing quite as much. So if you just focus on what you're doing, you can do it. Great photos. This is looking at we're at the summit here. So we're right around 13,000 feet. This is looking to the south into Sequoia National Park. And when you look north, you're looking into Kings Canyon. Yeah, so this is the summit. There was 2 or 3 other crews up there. And okay, so what is that? 13,200 feet, Forester Pass. Yep. Now we got a few photographs of us here. Good photos. Beautiful day to be up there. Worth the effort. This is how you get down. This is how some people get down. This is how I got down. And, it's like there's still a lot of kid in me, but, it's a pretty bouncy, pretty rough, pretty fast ride. And, I don't know if I should be doing stuff like that, but you get pretty out of control. This was a really long slide, probably 200 yards, 300 yards. Teo, this is a picture of Teo, great photo of him. He's getting pretty out of control and letting himself fly along pretty good. This must be Kai coming down. He was moving really fast and he kind of tumbled at the bottom, yard sailed quite a bit. Good fun laughing. This is, we're heading north. This is entering the upper reaches of Kings Canyon. So we're now in the Kings drainage. And this is the snowfield on the backside of Forester Pass. And so the rhythm for many trips, it's a really smart way to go, is that you just do 1 pass a day. You do 1 pass a day and you get up super early in the morning. We were getting up at 4:15, getting on trail, hopefully before the sun comes up, because you want the snow to be really, really firm. And so that you walk on top of the snow, because it freezes overnight and then it starts warming up in the daytime. And so then when it warms up, obviously you're going to start sinking. And when you start sinking, if you're sinking into up to your knee, or up to the middle of your calf, or up to the middle of your thigh with every step, you're going to get really tired. And the one to really pay attention to is Muir Pass. Like, you just do, my opinion, right? You got to leave really early to go up Muir Pass, because it's really long and it's really flat. The two times I've done it, it has a very long stretch of snow before you get to the top, and then it's a really long way. You're just in the snow. You're in the snow for a really, it's a day. Early start in the high Sierras. That's the strategy. So this is out. We've traversed that ridge. The backside of Forester Pass is definitely more challenging than the front side of Forester Pass. Forester Pass kind of gets the front side of it. The south side of it gets a whole lot of the focus and the attention because of the chute, but it's the backside where people get lost, get off trail, and the snowfields it goes on for miles. Yeah. That's looking back towards the Pacific Crest Trail pass at Forester. There's just a pyramid-shaped rock to the east. That's very close to the trail. And here we are. We're just making our way down out of the snowfield, and you know, the whole High Sierras is spectacular, but yeah, I don't have words for it. It's completely great. And yeah. So, we need to get ourselves down into these areas to find a place to camp. And I think we camped where that picture of that deer was. I think we camped somewhere in this area. And then this is actually the next day. This is definitely my favorite peak on the Pacific Crest Trail. I think I took like 40 photographs of this thing. Hopefully I won't torture my future self and you with more than a few. But it's just so iconic. Yeah, see, lots of photos. Okay, so here we are getting up, and we're getting real close to Kearsarge Pass. A lot of people take the trail and go out over Kearsarge to drop into Bishop or Independence, I think it is, to do a resupply, but we had plenty of stuff, so we're just going to continue on. This is me with my Topo Mountain Racers and my Catula microspikes. I think I just put them on for the day. That is overlooking Charlotte Peak. And so this was maybe, I don't remember what order the passes go in. I think this is maybe Glen Pass. Yeah, this is Glen Pass. We got up to the top of it, and if you can see this trail, you can see that traverse across Glen Pass. So we're at the top. This picture is taken from the top. The hike up Glen Pass is easy. Getting off of Glen Pass was it was the most dangerous thing that we did in the High Sierras, and so we walked out this boot track. It's like halfway through that snowfield. You can see it going out where it doesn't really change elevation Well, we got out to the end of that boot track and it just stopped, and or wrapped around the mountain, or didn't make sense to us what people were doing. And so Kai had the this is still at the top of Glen Pass. This is us going out across the traverse. And so this is me taking a picture of Kai. What It was Kai's idea, because we got out there and we were standing there, and a guy had waited for us. Really cool, young, strong hiker waited for us because he knew we had good mountaineering skills. So he waited for us because he didn't know how to get off the mountain, and he didn't want to be by himself. I mean, it was a very smart move on his side. I think his name was Skittles. And so Kai's bright idea was, well, why don't we just turn around and face the mountain and kick a ladder into, like, just kick steps into it. And Teo stepped up to the plate, and he's like, I'll lead this. And so he turned around, shoved his his ice axe handle first, way down in the snow. You could punch it down like 2 feet, and then you could kick in a step. So Teo went first. Teo's super solid. He's a great leader. And he started stepping his way down this thing. This was hundreds of feet. It took us 20 minutes, maybe half hour, to get down this pitch. And so I followed him, and I stopped at this spot and took this photo. But this was nerve-wracking for sure. So this is Kai a little bit concerned. That's me. That's Teo leading. That's me over Kai's right shoulder there. And so Kai is a little bit on the concerned side, but we all did really good. So this is us coming down off of this pitch, and then it ended on some class 4-5 terrain of mixed rock and ice. It was certainly interesting climbing. Pretty interesting climbing on these rocks. That went on for maybe 150 yards, something like that. And so we came down the rocks for probably another 10 minutes or something like that. And then we all decided as a group that it was safer to be in the snow proper. The snow was really high quality. It was really, it had consolidated really nicely. And so we got back in the snow for another pitch in the snow. This is us. We've gotten to the bottom of this, and this is us, I believe, entering Ray Lakes, which is arguably the prettiest part of the High Sierras. But it's all kind of silly. It's like saying, well, which is prettier, a red-tailed hawk or an osprey? Like, it's a silly distinction. The whole thing is stunning. And we had caught up with another crew, or they caught up with us. It doesn't matter. I don't know. But we all linked up. And yeah, a really great, there's a loop around Ray Lakes. So if anybody doesn't have 5 or so months to go do the whole PCT, if you want to just go hit a really great section, just go do the Ray Lakes loop. It's world class. There's no shortage of absolutely beautiful water. This we had to cross. It's like the shortest river I've ever seen in my life. That's a lake. This is like a river that's like 40 feet long. It drops about a foot and a half between the upper lake and the lower lake, though. So it's great. And it had huge fish. It had rainbow trout. It had golden trout, and one other variation of trout that Skittles was telling me about. I can't really, oh, brown trout. He was able to identify them from just looking at them while they're in the water. I would need to, have them out of the water to take a look at them. And, so that was kind of cool. It's really great. You run across different people out here. Like, I don't think it was this day, but it was like a couple days later that we ran into a guy that had donated a kidney. Then he started a whole nonprofit company to like convince people to donate kidneys to people that need kidneys. And it's just like, what a lovely thing. And he was out there for his nonprofit, proving to other people that with one kidney, you can still go and do super rad adventures and stuff like that. Great guy. His lady was trail angeling him, and a wonderful group. I really wish that I knew the organization that he founded, but I don't know it. Anyway, wonderful man. And that's a serious donation. Giving blood is one thing. That's a pretty precious commodity that you have. And but giving a kidney, like, pretty good thing to do. So we're just still cruising along through the Ray Lakes area. These are some of my like favorite views of where you've got like a really strong creek or a river, but you can capture the river and a mountain in one frame. I really love those photos. Here's Kai crossing that section there. And we're just continuing to work our way down through, getting out of the snow. And there was a section down in here that the trail had been blown out that took us like 2 hours to get through. There was no trail. An avalanche came down. So that's something that's very real, is that in the high Sierras, avalanches happen, and they'll just cover the trail for 100 yards or a quarter of a mile in avalanche debris. And so then you got to work your way through it. And it's just part of what the deal is. Okay, so this is me, mile 800, obviously, and we are crossing, I believe this is Woods Creek. I think it's Woods Creek, tributary of the Kings. This is just an iconic bridge, super beautiful. Thank the people that build this stuff. I really wish that some funds would go in the direction of allowing more bridges to be built. It would take a lot of the very serious danger out of the trip. And, people don't take the water crossings seriously enough. They're significant. Some of them are treacherous. That's why I took a rope with me into the high Sierras. People don't take ropes into the high Sierras. Most people don't have the skills to use them. But that rope comes in handy when you're helping people who aren't good crossing swift rivers that are dangerous. You can set up a system. They can hold on to a rope, and and you just go on with your life, and you just add security. It's a good thing. Obviously, if you don't know how to use, don't do it if you don't know what you're doing. Get the training before you go, just like you're going to get the training on how to use an ice axe before you go. Get the training on how to use a throw bag. Take a throw bag. It's smart. It's like take a first aid kit. A lot of people, is shocking. A lot of people don't have first aid kits out there. Completely incredible. Oh, you're not going to need it. It's just extra weight. It's like, well, you're going to hear an epic story later about a first aid kit. This is Kai. You get into these modes out there that are just nonsensical. And he's like, I'm going to stand here with this pile of rocks and I'm going to build a bridge across this creek. I don't want to get my feet wet. I don't want to take my shoes off. He literally 15 minutes threw rocks into this to build a bridge and ended up taking his shoes off. But I appreciate the effort that he put in, and it's fun to do do what you want to do. There's no hurry. It's all good. Teo started pitching in. Took him a while to realize this is just not going to happen. This was some sweet little ground bird that, I saw a nest. Really, really sweet. We're probably heading up. This is probably Pincho Pass. So this is the next day, really early, cruising up Pincho Pass. Yeah, I think it's Pincho Pass. I was talking earlier in this series about how the trail provides, how there's this phenomenon where things just magically happen. The things that you need show up. I told you that I lost my glasses, and we got up Pincho Pass about halfway, and we were talking with some other people, and somehow it came up that I had lost my glasses in a creek, and the guy's like, oh, I have an extra pair of glasses. And then he tells us a story about this and that and whatever, and he's like, they're a little bit messed up, but they'll totally work. And he hands me a perfectly good pair of glasses that like the screw had fallen out of, and so he had put like a little piece of paper clip or something like that in it. It's like perfectly good. Or maybe he had taped them, whatever. I didn't see that guy the rest of the trip. It was just like an angel just shows up sitting on a rock and, oh, you need this? Here, have this. That's not an uncommon experience on the PCT, right? I'll tell 3 to 5 more stories that are just uncommonly cool, serendipitous things that happen. Yeah. I think this is the top of Pincho Pass. I don't know. It's hard to tell. To a certain degree, they all look the same. To a certain degree, they're all very different and unique. So it's kind of the same thing every day. Get up really early, get on trail, walk on top of the snow, get get to the top, truck along, find camp as close to the snow on the next pass, and rinse and repeat day after day. This is Mather Pass. There are multiple ways of doing Mather Pass. And we decided to climb the rocks on the left. And this was reasonably safe. For us, it was reasonable. You wouldn't want to fall if you're not a rock climber. I don't think you'd want to do it. But a really easy way to get to the top. But maybe not recommended. It's on the left side of the switchbacks. Switchbacks were all gone because they're just all snow covered. But anyway, this is me taking a picture of Kai. And anyway, this is Australian guy, Neptune, maybe? Really good dude. Really good dude. This is, 10 minutes before he takes a horrible fall. He falls hundreds of feet down the north side of, and when I say falls, he slides. He had an uncontrollable slide that, this guy's never been in the snow before, and he didn't really even, he made a little bit of a footing error. Teo had pointed out to him. That's a great photo of him. This is the other guy that fell off this hill. And this guy was like, I don't know what was going on with him, but he didn't have micro spikes with him. And or an ice axe. He didn't have micro spikes or an ice axe, and he's like taking on the high Sierras, and that, that's a recipe for problems. And just after this photograph was taken, Teo, in his general fashion, he is in the lead, and there was a rock that was covered in clear ice. It was, a quarter inch thick of ice. No snow on it. Pretty slippery thing. Don't step on it. And it was a really awkward step around it. And Neptune just made a mistake, and he just started. He took a 4 or 5 foot fall onto hard pack icy snow, and it's steep, and so he just started whipping down the mountain. And homeboy made the move. Like, he did exact, Kai and Teo and I all yelled axe at the same time. And I was maybe 100 yards down. Teo was maybe 120 yards down. Teo started sprinting across the mountain because there's a cliff about maybe 300 yards down. There's a cliff that wouldn't be okay. And so Teo goes sprinting across the mountain into his fall line. The guy's careening down, but Neptune made the move. Neptune is that guy, and he deployed his ice axe, and it'd be really nice to have like slow motion video of what he did, because he did it right. He arrested his fall, and kind of appropriate. He kind of he yard sailed his stuff a bit, his hat and his sunglasses and a couple other items, went whipping on down the mountain. Teo just ran around on this thing. Teo's so good on his feet, and he was catching these things as they were sliding down in the fall line. And so no harm, no foul. He banged up his arm pretty good, but he's, solid man. Took the hit really well. Didn't turn into, sometimes when people make mistakes, they they get really mad at themselves and start, and it really affects them and stuff. This guy shook this off like, solid dude. This guy on the left, he took a fall. He needed micro spikes. He took a fall. He just went whipping down the hill, and he was able to slow himself down with his pole somehow, whatever. But it was probably the most negligent thing I saw on the whole trip, and it's all, people, whatever. Yeah, it's another good photo of the kids. So we're down off of Mather Pass, getting ourselves down into that valley below Mather Pass. All of these days are 12 to 18 mile days in the High Sierras if you do one pass a day. Maybe there's one that's 20 miles. I think we did one day. I think we did one day that was more than 20 miles. Yeah. Love it. Look at that. Like, get me out of here. So great. This is the Golden Staircase. The Golden Staircase is properly done going north to, let's see here, south to north, because you go down it. Man, this is steep. This is a steep thing. And, these people that put this trail together, that put this section of trail together, I mean, there's so much work that has gone into this trail. These people, these are stairwells. This stairwell is like over a mile long, and it drops so much. I don't know. Call it 1,200 feet. Maybe it's more. I don't know. But it's a beast. It's a beast going down it. And it has taken some really big avalanches recently. It's blown out pretty. It was relatively destroyed from 2020 to 2024. It had clearly been destroyed pretty good, probably from the epic snow levels of 2023. This is the middle fork of the Kings River here. This is a world-class multi-day kayaking run. People come over Bishop Pass and kayak down through here. It's one of the best trips in the world. I've never kayaked it. I'm not good enough to do that, but I've definitely watched some videos of people doing it. It's worth watching. It's pretty epic. So this is a meadow that it flows through, and it's just spectacular, just beautiful stuff. Okay, so this was where we had been hearing for a day or two about a big storm coming in. So I had gotten a text through the Garmin from Naomi that a 4-day storm was coming in. And so we had a decision to make. Either we needed to continue on with the possibility of getting a fair amount of snow and being kind of socked in for a number of days, or we could just go out at Bishop Pass. We chose to go out Bishop Pass. And so this was probably like day 10 or something like that, or day 8. I don't know how many days it was to get to Bishop Pass. And so anyway, we changed our plans and went out Bishop Pass. So these are photographs of us on the day. I think we did 22 or 24 miles. We did the previous pass, and I think it's Mather, and then dropped into the Middle Kings, and we took a long lunch break, and then hiked late into the evening and went out the Bishop Pass trail for a couple hours to get up a few thousand feet up, and then we're camping, do the rest of the trail the next day. So these are some photographs of not the Pacific Crest Trail. This is the Bishop Pass Trail that is heading east off of the Pacific Crest Trail. It's one of the main trails that people escape the Pacific Crest Trail in the High Sierras to go do a resupply. Very, very classic place to resupply. So this is us working our way up. Yeah. This is the next morning. We're getting up towards the summit of the Bishop Pass. This is us continuing to truck along. And so I should probably leave this now, because what happens is that we get up into Bishop. Kai and Teo had no need to continue any further. Kai hitchhiked to go get the he hitchhiked to Mammoth and got his car, came back, and we drove back to our home about 4 hours away to weather the storm. And as it turns out, there was not really a storm, but the kids had had enough. They're like, we've done this. We don't need to do this. It's pretty tough going out there. And so I had a decision to make. Am I going to go back in at Bishop Pass and go up the rest of the Sierras, or would I come in at Mammoth and skip a section? I'd already done that section twice before in my life, so I didn't really have much attachment to it. But I also had continuous footsteps, and so, so I, got 3 or 4 days at home, got to think about things a little bit, and then my mom's going to drive me back to wherever I decide to get back on trail. And so we'll pick that up tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific. Okay, thanks.